the people from New York are like, girl, you knew this. You knew this coming to New York. I know, I did. Just forgot how expensive it was. Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I have just gotten back from a vacation in New York City. And by got back, I mean like 10 days ago got back. But as a teacher, coming back from spring break kind of feels like a sprint to go from spring break to summer vacation. So it took a little while, but I am back and again spent 5 fantastic days in New York City. My last 2 videos I will link down below in the description box, but I talked about the ways that I saved, side hustled, and cash flowed this entire trip and had the funds to pay it all off before I even stepped on the airplane. And the next video is going to be me addressing how much I thought things were gonna be versus how much they actually were, and pay my bill on screen with you guys. But before I show you guys just how much I spent in the city that never sleeps, let me just say for those of you that might not know, New York
is expensive.
My fiance Christopher has never been to New York, and there were several things culturally and financially that really shocked him when it came to paying for things, doing various things, and they were just different in New York than they are in the Midwest. But before we jump in, if you have not already done so, click that little subscription button and the bell down below. It will update you each and every time when there is a new video coming out. And once again, I'm gonna pay a bill with y'all in a couple days, and I am sure as I check my Chase bank statements, it's anything but cheap. Also, if you want to see the things that I saw in New York, I have all my socials linked down below. I did take a lot of picture and video in New York City, so make sure to check that out down below. But without any further ado, here are the top 10 most overpriced things in New York City. Let me know if I miss any New Yorkers. The first one is bottled water. Now, I am a girl who has no problem drinking from the taps, but I did notice when I would go into convenience stores, bottled water started at $2.50 and went all the way up to $6 to $7. There's a brand of water I've seen a little bit around Columbus, Ohio, but saw a lot in New York, and it was called boxed water. Water that came in a cardboard box. It says boxed water is better, $6. $6 for a carton of water. Now, I will say there was one day that Christopher and I walked all of Central Park, and if I still have a screenshot, I will show you my Fitbit steps. It was the highest amount of steps I've ever gotten. We did buy 2 bottles of water to go around the park and not have to pay the street vendors' prices because it was even more there. So we did stop at a convenience store right by the hotel, got 2 bottles of water. They were $2.50 each. That was the cheapest one, and we took them around New York City and Central Park. Number 2 is toiletries. When I travel, I try to bring as many travel-sized toiletries. I even have little bottles I can fill with anything at all, so like shampoo, conditioner. But when it comes to my contact solution, I only have one big jar. So my brain just said, you know what, do not pack this big jar. When you get to Manhattan, just go into, you know, an off the beaten path, CVS, Walgreens, whatever it is, and get a tiny bottle of contact solution. Here in Ohio, maybe $2, $3 at most. New York City, $6. And of course, I'm not completely shocked by this. It just surprised me that I didn't think of it and say, hey, why don't you go get a tiny bottle and put your contact solution in it? But I did bite the bullet and buy that. That actually isn't even the worst one. The one that kills me, and I'm sure it's overpriced because tourists always forget it, was hairspray. I could go to the Dollar Tree right now and get a 12-ounce of Suave hairspray, not the aerosol can, just a regular spray of hairspray. New York City, $7.99. It blew my mind, and I, again, didn't pack any hairspray, so I got the tiniest, cheap, generic brand for $3. Tiny for $3, so I can get 12 ounces here in Ohio for $1. And I'm sure all the people from New York are like, girl, you knew this. You knew this coming to New York. I know, I did. Just forgot how expensive it was. Number 3 is coffee. And I'm sure it's because of all these little hipster coffee shops all over New York and the Midwest, I will admit, but coffee is so overpriced. Just for fun, I did take a free Starbucks reward to the huge location in Times Square. I got just a tall white chocolate mocha tall. No add-ins, no substitutes of milk, no extra this, extra shots there. No, just a plain drink that would have cost me $3.50 here, $5.75 in New York. Now, again, I did not have to pay that because I had the free drink, and looking back, I should have gotten the big one with all the shots because it was free. I just wanted to see a price comparison. They also had 7 cash registers and its own solo espresso bar in this Starbucks. It was kind of a spectacle, and everybody in there wasn't talking to each other. It was kind of intimidating. You stood in line, got your coffee. It's fine, but no one's talking to each other, and God forbid you look them in the eye. Number 4 are souvenir shops, and I will say right now, I mean souvenir shops outside of Chinatown. If you've been to New York, Manhattan, anywhere in that area, you know that Chinatown has most affordable items when it comes to souvenirs. I will be completely transparent and say I did not buy any souvenirs on this trip because my main purpose of going was just to take in the sights, show Christopher Manhattan for the very first time, see the Statue of Liberty, and 5 Broadway shows in 4 days. So my money went more towards experiences and not items. I'm also trying to minimize my things. I am a slow minimalist. I am getting there each and every week. I'll get into that in a future video. Not for this one, but souvenirs. And going to New York over spring break, there were a lot of kids, high school kids, college kids, let's just say tourists. There were a lot of tourists. So I was watching people pay $25+ for those little I Heart New York plain white t-shirts, and then I would walk to Chinatown and see them on sale 2 for $5. So, souvenirs, if you're going to get them, I highly recommend going to Chinatown. Actually, on the topic of experiencing New York and looking for people, I watched a bunch of videos by a YouTuber, I believe her name is Sarah Funk, F-U-N-K. I will link her channel down below. I watched all of her videos. She's not sponsored. She has no idea I'm talking about her. I just searched things to look out for in New York. I watched out for scammers, the best places to eat off the beaten path, what to see if you're not a touristy kind of person. I watched all of her things. They were very helpful, and I will link her down below. Number 5 on this list are extreme tours. Let me give you an example of an extreme tour, and I will pull up the actual charge. One of the most popular things I saw while I was in New York were helicopter rides around the front of Manhattan. You would go up in the helicopter, you would circle the Statue of Liberty, go by the Freedom Tower, and just see a little bit of Brooklyn, New Jersey, and Manhattan. 15 minutes in a helicopter. Great. The cost? $250 per person. There were a lot of different extreme tours happening. There was jet skiing, helicopters, speedboats, all sorts of things right in the front where they knew tourists were going to be. I will tell you what touristy things we did at the end of this video because I think we got a really good deal and I'd like to share that with you, but extreme tours definitely made the list. Number 6 is for my loving fiance. He loves his Diet Coke, but I have to let you know now, soda refills are not free in New York City. We tried to change up our dinner ideas each and every night, typically because we'd see a show each and every night. We wanted to change up, have an Italian night, Mexican night, so on and so forth. In these dinners, I would get maybe 1 glass of wine and a glass of tap water. He would get a Diet Coke, but he would get 2 refills, and bless his heart, he had no idea this was happening. I actually took the bill the first time. I didn't want it to ruin his first night, but my glass of wine for happy hour per se was $8, and his 3 refills of a large Diet Coke was $11. If you are someone who loves their soda and are going to New York, do not expect any refills to be free. If they are free, it will say on the menu, and you are always free to ask. They'll be really nice about it, but soda refills are not free, my friends. Just get a $7 box water. Number 7, and I'm pulling up the receipt right now because I just want to share the receipt with it. Number 7 is lodging. Now granted, you can stay outside of Manhattan for much cheaper, but I thought I found a really good deal. And if you watch me on Instagram, you know I stayed in the Pod Hotel, I want to say 5 or 6 blocks from Broadway in Manhattan. The price of the lodging was $115 a night. I thought that was fantastic. I said, hey, there's nothing I can find cheaper than $250 in Manhattan. I didn't want to commute every day into the city. Fast forward 5 days when I got the bill, there was, and I kid you not, facility fees two different kinds of taxes. The one that really killed me was the facility fee. They told me that I was charged a facility fee because my hotel had a rooftop bar. But my rooftop bar was under construction when I was there, so I did not get to experience the bar, but still had to pay $15.99 per day for service charges. Let's put it this way. Had I not had service charges, extra taxes, and fees, I could have stayed 2 more nights in that hotel and the cost would have been the same. We will discuss that in the future video where I share my actual bill for this trip. I love paying for things that are under construction. Is resold Broadway tickets. And when I say resold, I mean it's somebody who has gone to the box office, purchased them at face value, and hiked up the price and stands outside the theater trying to get you to buy their tickets right before the show. If you are going to New York to see shows and you think that you're gonna get a cheaper deal going the day before, I am telling you now, you are risking a lot. You would get all the way there, and if the price is jacked up, that's the price you pay. Please, please, please trust me when I say the online prices 6 months in advance, even 6 weeks in advance, will be cheaper. The only exception is if you go into Times Square and go to a place called TKTS the day before or even the day of for an evening show. They will have whatever is left over. It is completely valid. You are not buying fake tickets. If you take anything from this video, take it from the girl who paid to see 5 Broadway shows. I paid for 3 of them before leaving for the trip. The 4th one, I knew they would have tickets available because I knew how it was selling, and I got second row seats the day before, and that was just luck. The 5th one was a gift from Christopher. It wasn't in the plan, and it was seeing the premiere, the very first New York performance of the musical Tootsie. That was not on our schedule, but he added it and surprised me with those tickets, and it was amazing. Again, buy your tickets online unless you go to TKTS, and even if you go there, that show may be sold out. If you don't care what show you see, just go to TKTS and they have a menu and it shows you what's available for that day and the price. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just research or YouTube search TKTS Broadway. You will not be sorry. Number 9, because we couldn't do this list without talking about food itself. Number 9 is a la carte items. If I would go to breakfast and I would get scrambled eggs and a side of toast and I wanted an extra side of bacon or fruit, that is where they will get you. A la carte items in New York start at $4 to $5 and they range all the way up to like $8 or $9. While the food is good and I highly recommend budgeting for it to take in that full experience, just be aware a la carte items will hike up the price of your bill, and see what kind of dishes have sides included. That's my one tip. A lot of places we visited were family style, so we would just pick 1 main course and 1 salad and we would split it. The downside is we stayed in a hotel that didn't have a refrigerator, so I tried to make a point of boxing things up and then giving it to the homeless people in Manhattan, just because I figured, hey, it's cold, I can't use this food, I've already paid for it, it's gotta go somewhere, and I asked for people to box it up and take out some CD and some Caesar salad to the homeless outside. And number 10, the most overpriced thing I have seen, at least when it comes to tourists, because people know that tourists will pay for these: electronic cables. I cannot tell you how many people I heard just walking through Times Square saying, oh my gosh, I left my cell phone charger, my MacBook Pro charger at home, on the plane, on the bus, in the cab. They go to the convenience stores or the Mac stores or the Best Buy that's in Times Square. Those prices are jacked up because they know you came to New York to take picture, to make video, to remember the experience, and you will pay anything to have that cable. My second huge piece of advice after buying Broadway tickets the right way is double check, triple check that you have the cables you need, because the normal $10 to $15 cable here was $49.99 in Manhattan. Do not forget it. Anyway, those are the top 10 things that I found to be completely overpriced in New York City. Christopher and I actually made this list on the bus. We paid for a 3-day bus pass, and this bus pass let us go all over the city. They provided daytime tours, nighttime tours. It was basically our subway and taxi all mixed into one. We bought it on our phones. I forget exactly what it was called. Let me look it up. Top View Sightseeing Tours. Again, not sponsored in any way. I just bought it here. I paid for it on my screen. I could get on the bus. I scanned it. It included Bronx, New Jersey, all of Manhattan, daytime and nighttime tours, free Staten Island tour, free bikes through Times Square. There's a few more things. I just can't remember what they are. Once again, that is my list of 10 things. Let me know what things you think I missed down below in the comments. If you are planning to go to New York or you're saving to go anywhere for vacation, please let me know. We have a few things in mind for summer travel, but I'd love to hear yours. Anyway, that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye!